ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the 2015 Spring Promotion Tournament. I'm Max Atlas Anderson, along with my fellow Australian co-caster, Jake Spawn Tiberi. You may have noticed we had a technical snag during that video about Doublelift, but if you head over to lolesports.com, you can watch the whole thing there. It's absolutely fine. But now, we're here to bring you our next matchup, which is between Counterlogic Gaming and Curse Academy.
CLG finished 6th in the North American LCS Summer Split, and they'll be going up against Curse Academy, who finished 2nd in the Challenger Series.
CLG has been a team with many issues this split. They've been forced to change a few things around.
Definitely, Atlas. CLG has been a team in turmoil, having only won a single game since July 13, and that was in the series against Dignitas that saw them move into relegation. This has led to some changes. Monty is out as a coach, and Zuna, an ex-XDG team member, is in as their analyst. He's a close friend to Afro and Link, and they're hoping that can turn that around. Curse Academy, on the other hand, has been rather stable. They've only had one swap up, and that's ManCloud out in the mid lane, and they're bringing in Keen from the Oceanic region.
Yeah, we all know about Keen over in the Oceanic region, and he's been fantastic over there. Was easily one of the best mid laners. But hopefully, CLG is fully prepared because they'll be facing off against the veterans of Curse Academy.
Exactly right. 3 of 5 members of Curse Academy are former LCS pros. And Keen is no stranger to the Rift either. As you said, in the Oceanic region, he was brilliant, particularly on control champions like that Orianna, and when it was popular, also played a fantastic Kayle.
Yeah, he certainly did. But before we head into Game 1, let's hear from CLG about facing those veteran players and what Curse Academy thinks about CLG's morale.
We play Curse Academy. We know that they have a lot of veteran players on their team, players with a lot of competitive experience, and they also have a very good organization behind them.
I don't think they expected to be playing in relegations, so that could obviously hurt their morale and practice coming into this, so I think that could be a big factor.
I think Saint is a really good jungler that actually isn't an LCS. He's really aggressive and he knows his limits. I'm kind of looking forward to playing versus him, especially because he used to be on CLG and all that.
I actually hope that they would pick us. This is the ideal team to play for us. I think that they're on tilt, and I think we match up best against them.
It doesn't really matter who we play versus. I feel like right now the most important thing for us is regaining our form. If we can fix our problems, I think we can pretty much beat anyone right now.
We're feeling pretty good going into the matches. I feel like our team morale is a lot higher than theirs, and that's definitely something that's going to help us. I believe we have a good shot at winning.
And Link with so much respect for Saint, but Saint not quite returning it that much.
Yeah, CLG seem to know that they have some issues coming into this lineup, and Curse Academy, on the other hand, seem extremely confident.
Yeah, really confident. That's how you've got to be. And now let's check out the lineups for the teams. On the blue side, it's Counterlogic Gaming with Seraph in the top lane, Dexter in the jungle, Link in that mid lane, Doublelift as AD carry, and Afromu on support.
And on the red side, it's Curse Academy. Top laner is Chris, Vicious in that jungle, Keen in the mid lane, Impactful is AD carry, and Bunny Fufu in support.
And the featured matchup in this series is past versus present, as Dexter meets CLG's former jungler, St. Vicious.
Yeah, and both of these guys are responsible for the early game shot calling, which will be key in the early game particularly. We've seen recently that CLG struggled with this a little bit and has moved to some decrease in map control and early game objectives.
Dexter started strong in the spring split and carried his team to an 18-10 record. But by the end of summer, the team finished on shakier ground. Today is Dexter's chance to redeem his team and prove that he is still a world-caliber jungler.
Yeah, Dexter came into the lineup and exerted a lot of consistent map pressure around. With champions like Elise and Lee Sin, he was able to influence the game early, get some nice ganks off, and was really the barometer for his team.
Yeah, now being sort of forced into these other pickups like Kha'Zix and Nunu, where he doesn't seem quite as comfortable.
Yeah, it definitely is impacting their early game, and it has gone towards a camp the Doublelift bot lane once again.
Yeah, it seems like that's where they get to when they're feeling like they're a little bit shaken up, not necessarily sure what to do. Oh, rely on Doublelift, he can carry us through this. But on the other side of the jungle, it's going to be St. Vicious. He brings a lot of experience and leadership to his team and has been playing with an assertive confidence lately.
Yeah, St. Vicious is the old warhorse in this team. He's, of course, very consistent and that shot caller for the team. He picks up junglers like Kha'Zix and Evelyn, where he can have influence over the whole map. And he's been duo queuing a lot with Keen, so you'd expect him to visit that lane early and perhaps have a little bit more synergy with the top side of the map.
Yeah, of course, Dexter not known to be duoing with Link quite as much. But before the players head into the picks and bans, let's check your vote over on lolesports.com. According to those numbers, 69% of you think that CLG will take the series, and I'm inclined to agree here.
Yeah, that's definitely a very close vote. In fact, those 31% going with Curse Academy. They're the challenger team coming into this, and they're taking on a very solid lineup in CLG.
I think that people have immediately reacted to Saint's video, right? They're just saying, yeah, well, they're on tilt. It's fine. We'll just easily win, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sure.
And you see the confidence that comes out of the team, and for the fans, that must mean a lot.
Yeah, it certainly does. And of course, St. Vicious has such a following himself anyway, and the team has been looking really strong in the challenger scene.
Yeah, and they had some fantastic games leading into the final where they did lose against Coast, but they didn't. When they went into the game, they looked very relaxed because they knew that they had made it already.
Yeah, that's true. But we are going to be getting into Champ Select, and we'll see what gets taken away. Of course, this is patch 4.14, so there are a lot of priority picks. Of course, Alistair's still incredibly strong here. Maokai's there. Yasuo is very, very strong, but Nunu is going to be the first one taken away. And that's almost taking it away from Dexter here, although St. Vicious, one of the very first players to pick up that Nunu.
Yeah, when he first came into the competitive scene, he was like the OG Nunu of the realm. As we say, Alistair and Tristana being taken away in quick succession, as well as the Syndra pickup.
Yeah, the Syndra being taken away from Link here, and he showed us some brilliant Syndra play. Even though they didn't necessarily win against Dignitas, his Syndra was really, really strong. Of course, Zilean being taken off the board in Italy as well. Pretty standard, not necessarily focused, but Aphromoo is probably more of a Zilean player than Bunny Fufu.
Yeah, although Curse do like the Zilean bottom lane, especially plays it a lot on the main lineup. We do see Lucian.
I love this lock-in.
It's a nice flex pick at the moment.
Yeah.
You don't know whether it will be a mid lane Lucian or whether it will be in the bottom lane. But of course, Double Lift is such a potent Lucian player.
But if they decide that they need some form of late game hyper carry, they can move Link onto that and then do it that way. Of course, St. Vicious locking in that Maokai. Pretty standard here, and Bunny Fufu gets his Thresh. This is scary.
Yeah, that's definitely the champion he was known for when he was on the Curse main lineup. His Thresh is one of the most talked about players, and we saw it banned against him repetitively. Interesting that Saint picked up the Maokai, maybe a little bit of mind games here, putting it on himself and not Chris in Champion Select, hinting that it might be in the jungle, but I would expect that to be
He did used to play a lot of Maokai, but that was a long time ago. Dexter, though, going to lock in the Elise, and this is exactly what you were talking about, going back to his original junglers, having that pressure in the early game.
Yeah, it was his most played champion during the split, and he went with a full damage build. He said that was the only way to play that champion. You had to get in there, be able to exert pressure through kills and blow people up, as well as the Mundo in the top lane. That's a little bit more standard.
Yeah.
Especially if you see Maokai hinting at a double AP comp, although Impactful has picked up Corki, which gives them the option if they do want to go an AD mid, it definitely is open.
Yeah, and we have seen Keen on that Corki as well, doing ridiculous things in that mid lane, so we don't necessarily know what's going to happen. Of course, St. Vicious picking up this Kha'Zix as well, and we've been seeing this is almost his style choice champion.
Yeah, he's really loving the max W and evolve at first Kha'Zix. Gives a lot of poke in lanes and just able to force people off turrets. And in that, if you do run double AD, it allows you to fast push extremely well.
That is very, very true. Of course, Canology Gaming timer is ticking down, still making their decisions on the last couple of picks here. Nami is being hovered. Leona, of course, Aphromoo, one of the only players to still pick up that Leona, and it's locked in. We're seeing the Aphromoo Leona. We're going to get some presence in this lane, Spawn.
Yeah, and his solar flares are on point.
Oh, yeah.
Against Dignitas, he picked it up in one of the games, and he was hitting 3- and 4-man solar flares and really swinging team fights in their favor. Lynx also jumped on an assassin, which I'm so happy for. We saw him go to the AP Cogmore and even the Zilean and Rise.
I've just had... Okay, we must have had a little bit of a brain issue, because Zed, where is he? Where's Zed?
Yeah, Zed definitely
He's been ignored
through completely. And if you do run the Zed into the RE matchup, it is a completely skill-based matchup. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Keen did pick up Orianna. That is his signature champion.
Yeah, this is where he's comfortable as well. This is the first game in a best of 5. You want to come out strong, get the momentum in your favor. So picking up a champion that you're arguably the most comfortable on, I think we've seen him on almost 50% of the games that he's played, and they are going to lock that one in. So already everything's come through. St. Vicious, he was holding on to that Maokai for a little bit long. Love seeing that come through. But Aphromoo and Double Lift as Lucian and Leona, that is so much early pressure. These Sunlight procs can be procced so easily with that Light Slinger.
Yeah, and they love to go 2v2 in bottom lanes. They have so much confidence in that matchup. And it's a typical pick comp versus a team fight comp. CLG's gone very pick heavy with the Ari and the Elise, able to lock one person down and blow them up. Expect a DFG rush out of Link in this versus Keen on Orianna as well as Chris on Maokai. Their team fight presence late game, if this does go much later, is absolutely huge.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Not to mention the fact that you've got that twisted advance with the Shockwave as well. You can get right into that backline and just mess things around. It gets very, very scary. But as we head into the first game, which team do you think came out with the strongest lineup? Tweet your responses to us at LOL Esports using the hashtag CLGwin or CAWin, and we'll check the totals in the game. But yeah, I have to say that I really, really like the changes that CLG have made since we saw them last. Of course, Zuna coming in, and I think that he has said some different things to his team to make sure that they've had some different ideas coming in.
Yeah, as opposed to playing what is strong currently, like the Kazakhs and Nunu, they've gone back to definitely what they are comfortable on. Seeing Link on an assassin and Dexter on an early game aggressive jungler is just going to lend themselves so well to the early game.
Yeah, but we are coming into the Rift, everyone. As you can see, CLG on our blue side versus Curse Academy in the red shorts. We'll see if there's going to be any level 1 shenanigans, because of course this is the game 1 of the best of 5 series, and if you're going to try anything cheesy or a little bit crazy, this is the game to do it.
Yeah, it definitely is, but it looks like they are just moving out to standard lanes, covering all those entrances into the river. Both teams got exactly what they want in Champion Select.
Yeah.
So I think they're just happy to play this one through and see how the lane matchups go. It does look like it will be a 2v2 bottom lane.
Yeah, I'm a little bit scared for Link on this Ahri, just because we haven't seen Ahri today working out so well. We'll see whether Link can turn that one around for the champion, really earn her some respect back. But of course, bottom laners, we do seem to have a 2v2 matchup, as you mentioned, and Bunny Fufu is definitely going to be happy with this. Of course, Thresh originally thought to be a bit of a counter here to this Leona if she Zenith Blades in.
1 to 5, Thresh can deal with Leona reasonably well.
Yep.
If he is near his AD carry, able to play that Zenith Blade away. However, if it gets to level 6, that Solar Flare cannot be stopped, and Aphromo is on point with them. As we see a little bit of a scuffle already in the jungle.
Yeah, that's Sapling doing so much damage as he comes through. Chris just going to come back down and say, yeah, that's right. That's my tree.
And we do have a ward on the red buff side, so they'll know exactly where Saint is starting.
Yeah, no fancy maneuvers coming through here. Just blue buff starts for both of our junglers. Some warding coming through as well around the river, so nothing crazy. Not like I mentioned. Not going to be any cheesy starts here, but everyone going to know where everybody else is, and as it seems, just going to be standard laning coming through.
And you have to think, currently this is in the favor of CLG. They would have so much confidence in their bottom lane to do well in this matchup, especially with Double Lift on that Lucian. As we see Saint just picking up his blue buff, he will be top side of the map for an early game on the gank on this window. So maybe look for him to put some pressure in there, try and get Seraph behind early.
Yeah, and of course you really need to keep Amundo down as well, because if he makes it to level 6 and you haven't stopped him from free farming, he's just going to become that massive beast that can go wherever the heck he wants and just wreck your backline by just wandering towards it. A bit of a scuffle in the mid lane, of course. Keen picking up that command protect gives him so much trading potential in this lane.
Yeah, with that clockwork wind-up, able to see CS fine and trade evenly with Link, although Link is pushing this lane early, trying to exert some dominance.
Yeah, he is. Keen doing a really nice job dodging that Orb of Deception as well. See whether anything else does come through. Of course, Chris has pushed out this top lane a lot as well. So, a lot of pushing across the board.
He is trying to push it up so it hits the turret, so it will reset by the time Saint is ready to get back to that lane. So a potential gank may come in, although it looks like it's a little bit too late for that.
Yeah, both of our junglers now finishing up their red buff. We'll see where they decide to go. Now double buffed up, ready to cause some havoc. And St. Vicious is trying to do something here in the top lane, but it looks like this lane is still very pushed. It could be difficult to get this gank off, but we'll see whether he manages it.
But if he is able to blow a flash, it will mean a return gank, so he is going in through the lane. Nice setup here from Saint, and the amount of CC that Maokai brings out early game, he's hit level 3 now, he has all 3 of his abilities, this could be dangerous.
It could. We do have Seraph playing very far back. It's like he knows, his spidey senses are tingling. I mean, some sort of CLG horn that's going off.
It does look like that gank was for naught, and in doing that, it has allowed Dexter to pick up even more extra CS, so he's flying around the map at the moment, farming up the storm. But the lanes are equalized. Nothing too crazy is happening so far.
Yeah, and there's no real CS discrepancies either, apart from in that top lane where Chris is a little bit ahead, but of course Seraph not going to worry about that too much. But Dexter has been farming the heck out of his jungle.
Yeah, he's put it on rotation, and with Elise, those Spiderlings able to stay so healthy,
Yeah.
he's going to be able to go back, pick up his Spirit item, hopefully get some more wards out for his team and be able to get some early map pressure down.
Yeah, and I find this interesting that the bottom lane has been so quiet so far.
So we can see straight away that Dexter has changed up his item build. He's going tanky Elise. Wow, King's Dissonance just chunks Outlink in that mid lane. And Saint straight back to the top lane, looking to make some pressure here.
Yep, Seraph still playing so far into that top side. Throws a cleaver into the top brush, but of course, there's the wrong brush. St. Vicious has come around. They think he's far enough forward. There's a nice twisted advance. St. Vicious does get the slow from his passive down. There's the flash. Are they going to be able to make any more? No. They're not going to, but that's a flash. Successful gank from Saint first up. He had to be patient, but he got there.
Yeah, definitely did. And a beautiful sapling toss by Chris, ensuring that the slow would hit. Didn't throw it into the brush as wow.
Yeah, we have Afram actually flashes forward to the stun, but the dark passage, impactful. Not going to worry. He'll shake off the ignite. Bunny Fufu, amazing reaction.
That was a brilliant setup by Afram, burning the heal out of his impactful and able to get this wave pushed up. This is going to give Double Lift the CS advantage he needs, 41 to 29 in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and all of these creeps going to die to no one as well. So Aframu happy just to whack on this turret, saying, yeah, that's right. No one is going to get these creeps, and going to head back to base, of course. Pickaxe being picked up here, and we've got the Ruby Crystal and the Longsword, of course. Phage start here for Impactful. We saw the Sheens coming through, but is that more of an item that you'd pick up if you were ahead in that lane?
It just depends whether you want to go poke heavy and you think you have the range advantage. When that was picked up, it was into a Gnar lane, so he thought that with the range advantage he had over it, he could just poke down continually. Phage is a better pickup overall. It gives you those combat stats like the health as well as the AD. Gives you a little bit more kite ability as well, which is useful against the lead owner.
Yep, Pink Ward being picked up here. 10 out of 10 ward kill by Double Lift there, and he heads back. Has the AD advantage now, so we'll see whether he can press that one through, but St. Vicious is here now, as is Dexter. We could have some 3-on-3 action here in the bottom lane. It's getting a little bit dangerous, of course. Double Lift trying to come through. Bunny Fufu really wants to make something happen. Saint jumps in, but look at how much damage. The double teleport's coming in as well. Has to walk back for the Dark Passage. Chris is so deep in this one, but he's so healthy as well. There's the Phosphorus Bomb doing so much work, but nothing going to come from it. That was such a volatile situation.
And Chris pushing in that top lane, Many had level 6 burst, so his ultimate came through and mitigated so much damage as Afromo actually trades back. Sorry, Double Lift trades back very well there. But Seraph not having level 6 and that wave is about to crash into his turret, he's going to lose so much CS.
Yeah, Double Lift with a nice relentless pursuit to get him out of the way of that Phosphorus Bomb. And Link coming back down from that top side. You can see now there are wards littering the map, and it seems to me like both teams have exactly the same ideas of where they want these. Double Lift, that's his second ward of the game. He's got to be happy with that one. Sort of need to have a ward counter as well as a CS counter, I think.
It definitely does. As we have another
play, actually getting knocked out of here by Bunny Fufu. Impactful now, trying to answer back, but he's taken a lot of poke. And now they've started fighting here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, first blue buff will be picked up by Keen. Saint still isn't level 6. You would expect him to be able to hit that by his second buff. Dexter, however, the exact same level, gives the blue buff over to Link in that mid lane. So it will be both mid laners with blue buff. They're just looking to farm up even further, although Link has started to get a CS advantage.
Yeah, and so far, CLG with a 500 gold lead purely from that farm. Of course, Double Lift looks on the ball today on this Lucian, managing to pressure Impactful and Bunny Fufu out of that lane in order to get himself a bit of an advantage, utilizing having that extra pickaxe for a little bit more damage than Impactful's little longsword.
And we are getting to around about the 10-minute mark here, so look for the top lane to start trying to push out, set up for a dragon. We mentioned how important it's going to be for CLG to get that early game advantage. As really nice CSing by Link under the turret there.
Yeah.
That can be tricky.
Yeah, it certainly can, especially on Ari. That Foxfire gets really, really annoying to use because it just hits whatever the heck it wants. Of course, Seraph and Chris both have their teleports on cooldown as well, so could you imagine that maybe we'll wait until they're up before any dragon is contested here?
Well, that's why it's so important to push the lane out. That gives you the ability to be able to walk down.
Yeah, that's true.
And because Mundo and Maokai do very little damage to structures, there's not the risk of having to lose your turret in the first walk down the river.
See whether they do that, of course. Bottom lane just not deciding to go too aggressive anymore, but Dexter has actually started up this dragon here. Link's waiting in the wings, wanting to get a pick off if anyone decides to come through, but look at the vision here. Link has sort of given a little bit away, potentially. There has been pings down onto it, but Dexter's looking like he's pretty committed. They do a lot of damage when this dragon gets low. Dexter's looking low on health, but they secure the dragon. Really well played by CLG.
And that's the early vision control we talked about.
Yeah.
Brilliant work from CLG. They're able to juggle the aggro with the spiderlings, and then, of course, Link jumping in to lend a hand. They've got a 1,000 gold lead at only 10 minutes, and it's all through map control.
And this is what we wanted from Dexter as well. Secure the early advantages. Don't necessarily sit... I mean, he did gank the bottom lane, but he's not sitting there. He's securing dragons. He's moving around the map to places where he really needs to be and securing what he can. He's the opportunistic jungler that he otherwise was. As another pink ward does go down, St. Vicious picks up that one. Probably not worth it in comparison to a dragon. Doublelift takes a lot of damage from that phosphorus bomb. St. Vicious getting another one. This guy.
So able to clear out vision in the bottom side, but those pink wards already did their job.
Yeah,
they secured the dragon, so that's completely fine for them to drop off. As you can see, the CS in the bottom lane is just growing even further. It's now nearly a 30 CS discrepancy in the way of CLG, and they're playing this lane well, as is aggression.
Box is actually being used. Descends on Aphromoo. He's in so much trouble. First blood going to St. Vicious on this Kha'Zix, and you are not worried about that. Having a Kha'Zix getting ahead early, that is fantastic. We'll see. It doesn't necessarily make up the gold gap of that dragon, but getting a Kha'Zix ahead early is really, really strong.
Yeah, especially when it's Saint. He's going to be looking to... as we have a little bit of engagement top lane.
Wet noodle fight.
Wet noodle fight. If you get Saint ahead, he's able to impact the whole map. So look for him to turn that into wards, into some more ganks, and try and propel his team into a little bit of a better position. They're only 200 gold behind now. And Chris is doing well in this top lane as well.
Yeah, Seraph does have that Spectre's cowl, so he's going to be able to sustain himself up, as you mentioned, relatively easily. 76 to 88, so actually Seraph doing a decent job coming back into that one. Teleports are going to be available very soon as well in case any other fights do break out across the map. Finally, that pink ward is going to go down. Link is going to pick that one up. St. Vicious doesn't want him to, but does really trust it. And this is the change that St. Vicious has done as well. He has evolved the wings first for the gank potential.
Yeah, looking to get around the map and try and get his lanes into a better position. So going with that added mobility versus the slow and the poke damage. Zion Spartans actually tweeted in and said they think Curse Academy got a better draft this game. Should be interesting. If it goes late, I agree. They have a much better late game team fight. However, if in the mid game, this Lucian can start rolling, I think that they might be in a good position.
Yeah, we'll see. Of course, CLG already with an early lead, but is it enough of an early lead to get them through? Of course, Curse Academy do know how to play that late game exceptionally well, especially with Keen on this Orianna, where he's so comfortable. Dexter looking to make some plays potentially around the mid lane, just getting some vision down as well. And look at this, CLG with so many wards across this map. They know exactly what's going on, and they have to do this to pick up those picks that they need for this comp.
Yeah, as we're seeing, the bottom lane is being pushed in repetitively. So Saints here again for a little bit of a gank. Looking for Bunny to start something up, maybe a bit of a tell by walking forward, as well as Dexter and Link being missing. That must be petrifying for the bottom lane of Curse Academy.
Yeah, CLG pushing very hard into this one. Dexter and Link still hanging out. Keen coming over for his blue buff. There's the Cocoon, there's the Charm as well. The Wombo combo. Saint, you probably don't want to do that, buddy. Spirit Rush has come through, but the ultimate from Saint's going to be enough to keep him safe. But brilliant pick and just fantastic work, knowing exactly the timing on that blue and setting up for it and being patient by CLG.
And Aphromoo coming over for support straight away means they will be able to pick up this blue buff on Dexter. That's a fantastic move. We said that Dexter needed to pay some attention mid lane.
Oh yeah.
Saint does have great synergy with Keen, and that's been done straight away. Saint, however, opportunistic, has rotated over to the blue buff, might bump into Seraph, however.
Yeah, and Seraph has a pink ward in his top tri-rush as well, so wanting to make sure that he definitely doesn't get dived. And as a 0-0-0 Mundo who's 2 CS behind, he is more than happy to do so. Now Link going to be picking up his own blue buff as well, so both picking up a blue. Dexter and Link looking fantastic for CLG. Impactful actually able to trade back relatively effectively with Doublelift now. Bunny Fufu unfortunately not going to be able to land that flay. So we'll see whether CLG can continue to capitalize on this lead. Now almost 1,000 gold, but as we said, and as people have been saying, the team comp potential, the team fight potential.
As there's a hook.
There's the Death Sentence coming onto double F. Relentless Pursuit going to be used the opposite way that its name would suggest in order to get him to safety. Oh, Safety just gets hit by the charm as well, but he decides to jump in on it. Chris with a twisted advance, immediate teleport, but Keen gets the kill with a command attack. Finishing that one up and answering and picking up a blue buff.
Yeah, able to get his blue buff back off CLG there,
yeah.
although I think it did go to Dexter, their particular buff. Great movement from Chris, able to push out the lane and rotate down as Maokai. Oh, as a Culling comes out of double it. Not much happening there.
Just wanting to send a message.
Once Munde gets to this point of the game, he's impossible to be solo killed by Maokai. So pushing out the lane, looking to roam and affect the rest of the map is definitely the right move on the side of Chris.
Yep, fantastically well played by Curse Academy. Seraph now heading back up to the top lane. And he knows that he can't be moved. This is a Mundo on a mission to just go wherever the heck he wants.
Yeah, although his teleport is down and Dragon is coming up in 20 seconds. Curse Academy won't have the timer on it, but they will be able to piece it together by when Saint did do his drive-by and saw it was gone. And Chris's teleport is up.
Yep, there's another pink ward going down. So everyone's loving when that happens. Foxfire going to be trying to clear out some of these waves in the mid lane. Link wanted to push that one up just because this dragon is up in 1 second. Curse Academy are here though. There's the teleport coming through from Chris. Repel immediately to the ward. There's a two-man shockwave as well, actually. Dissonance doing so much work, forcing the flash from Dexter at the same time. Little sapling soccer ball gonna smack Seraph in the back of the head as well. And CLG looking on the back foot for this one, but no shockwave for this fight. It could still be a bit dangerous here for Curse Academy.
Yeah, especially with the pick potential. They can pull anyone off, and it's gone in.
Three-man solar flare coming through as well. There's the box landing. There's the phosphorus bomb for so much damage. Saint wants to make something happen, but he's going to go down. Dexter picks up that kill. Link, so low. Impactful picks up that kill. And Seraph now exhausted. Twisted advance. He's locked down for days. Curse Academy with a brilliant fight.
Yeah, 2 for 1 in favor of Curse Academy. They're not done. They're looking to push the mid lane. And the Velk in from Impact to pick up the kill, and then the immediate flash out. Such gutsy play going in there like that, and they will be able to... No, the culling comes through. They're not going to be able to pick that up.
Yep, double lift. Able to save the mid lane outer turret, but now the gold entirely even. 1 dragon apiece. No turrets have been taken as of yet, and CLG looking a little bit on the back foot now.
So CLG still want to fight because the shockwave is down. A great solar flare hits, but the box completely negates it, and Link gets hit by a hook. From here, CLG think they have the fight, so they dash back in. However, Impactful goes so ham, able to pick it up, and Seraph unfortunately gets exhausted, can't run away from that one. Goes in the favor of Curse Academy.
Indeed, Curse Academy now wanting to start up this dragon. Of course, Shockwave is still available, so CLG, they don't want to fight it. They need to get picks in order to be in this game, and Curse Academy just playing their team comp out so well.
And Keen is starting to get massive in the mid lane. 1, 1, and 2, 165 CS at 17 minutes. If his Shockwave hits 2 or 3 people, with the Maokai in the middle of the team, that's going to be so much disruption and damage that comes out. This could start turning in the favor of Curse Academy if they group up.
Not to mention Bunny Fufu can follow a Death Sentence into the middle of their team as well. They have so many ways to get that ball into places that they want. And St. Vicious can leap in from stealth. So Keen is going to have a really easy time landing that shockwave in the right places. And we know that he can do it because he's so potent on this particular champion. But 173 to 131 CS in this bottom lane double lift, as has happened many times in the past, seems to have his team on his back at this stage.
Yeah, he has picked up the Infinity Edge, so he's going to be going a very damage-heavy build on Lucian. Although the Trinity Force is also finished on Impactful, so in trades, over the brief burst potential, Impactful does so much damage.
He certainly does. Of course, that Sheen proc after the Phosphorus Bomb that lands is ridiculous amounts of damage. Thankfully, double lift with the sweep mechanics is going to be able to get away from that one. Afram actually walking back into the Death Sentence. Nice play from Bunny Fufu, but Eclipse giving Aframu so many stats. And this could be the bottom turret going down. Aframu happy to create presence. Solar Flare actually lands on a Bunny Fufu, doesn't get the stun, but there's the slow. Really nice play to stop that Zenith Blade, but the message has been sent. Bunny Fufu is probably scared now.
Yeah, and it means that he's chunked out, so they will be able to rotate over to this blue buff again. Saint is in the top lane, so once again, CLG will be able to pick up another blue buff for themselves and continue some pressure. They put that one on double lift.
Yeah, Double Lift making sure that he can cull these waves as often as possible. St. Vicious trying to get this dive happening. There's a twisted advance in. Seraph is in a fair bit of trouble, but they don't want this. Of course, the ultimate is still available. Sadism's going to give him so much health back, and Seraph, he's got to that point where he just doesn't care.
That pink ward spotted out straight away, and now they rotate into the middle lane, able to pick up another turret. They've swung this gold lead back into their advantage with some great map control over the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, Curse Academy looked like they were floundering there a little bit, and I think that Saint needs to just give up on ganking Seraph if he's hiding under his own turret.
Yeah, not much has come from the Seraph gank. As we see, Link will now be able to pick up the blue buff as well.
And manages to get that one as well.
Now that Giant Pelt has been picked up on Seraph, he's nearly unkillable from that combo. Without an Ignite, he's going to just be able to heal his way through anything and pretty much run around his turret.
Yeah, they might have to wait for that Sadism to be down before they do anything on that one. Of course, only 400 gold is the lead now for CLG, but Seraph definitely looking a lot better at this stage. Now has a CS advantage of a massive 2 minions. Wait, no, it's gone up. Okay, no, don't even worry about it. He's miles ahead, 10.
So with that Giant Pelt, he is able to bully lane a little bit. We saw that he just pushed Chris out, and his teleport isn't up, so that will be a walk back to his lane. Bottom wave being pushed repetitively on the side of CLG. That's up to a 70 CS discrepancy nearly.
Oh, yeah.
That's getting scarily big.
Double Lift goes back to base, almost finishes the static shift, so not going for that cooldown reduction build on Lucian that we have been seeing in previous matchups, and going for just regular, I'm going to pretend that I'm Tristana build.
Yeah, it does ensure that he has a lot of upfront burst potential with the extra crit on the Light Slinger passive, so maybe just going even further into that pick comp, looking to do so much damage to one target.
And look at this mid lane as well. Keen just doing so well with his farming, almost up to the standards of Double Lift, but both of these players are on the clock so far.
Yeah, and Keen's picked up that needlessly large rod, so his next shockwave, without that much magic resist on anyone but Seraph, will do so much damage.
And you can imagine he's probably sitting on a fair bit of gold here as well, considering the fact that Link does have that Deathfire Grasp and the Athenes finished up here.
As we see, they've now rotated into the top lane, looking to push out all of the tier 2 turrets. I don't think Chris can defend this one, so that will be the first ring of turrets gone for CLG, and they've just capitalized on an even further gold lead, now up 1,000 gold.
Yep, fantastic play here from CLG. And Seraph hanging out in this bottom lane, but has that teleport, so if they need to fight, then he's going to be fine. Impactful actually getting soloed here by Seraph. Seraph actually flashing after him with the cleaver. There's the heal being used. Impactful is in so much trouble, has to hide behind the creep wave, and Seraph... Now that is how you send a message. This Mundo is telling this guy, nuh-uh, you're not in my lane.
And that's without any armor so far. Of course, a lot of the damage that comes out of Corki is mixed.
Yeah, exactly.
Magic damage at this point of the game. But burning both summoners on Impactful is so important, because a minute the Dragon's going to be up, and he's not going to be able to go as aggressive as we saw him the first time around.
So true, and Minions were basically the unsung hero of that particular matchup as well, considering the fact that Impactful could hide behind them to just sort of get body blocked by the creeps. So nicely played by the Minions, unsung heroes, as Freak would say.
And we do see that all the backs that come through, both teams have the timer on Dragon. They know exactly when it's up. They're looking to be as strong as possible. And Seraph's picked up a Warmogs.
Oh my goodness.
He is absolutely massive for 20 minutes in the game.
Yep. Still has the teleport as well, so he can just be anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. You can see how deep the warding is coming through from CLG. And this is what we were talking about Dexter in our featured matchup, is the fact that he wasn't doing those deep wards. He wasn't making sure he was getting around this map. This time, has that Sightstone built up, of course, has the Ancient Golem for another ward as well. So he's going to have so much vision across this map.
Yeah, and although the vision is on the top side at the moment, so they do need to do some work to get this Dragon covered. CA waiting for Chris to come down, and the Scrying Orb out on Afro just to give them even more vision over the area. Not having to phase check is so important. And it looks like they will fight once again for this Dragon.
Yeah, CLG very confident with this one as well. Afro move. Seraph actually gets hooked, but that's not the target that Bunny Fufu wants. Teleport coming through from Chris. We'll see whether he tries to make something happen. Link from the backside. Bunny Fufu gets taken down so low, but Link's now focused. He's going to fall. That's support for mid lane, and not necessarily what CLG wants, but this fight is not over yet. Nice shockwave, but it only lands on Seraph. And Keen from the backside, he tries to come back through. Really nicely played from CA, kiting back on this one, and now Dexter's been singled out. Repel, not really what he wanted, and he's going to fall down as well. St. Vicious picks up that kill, immediately jumps on this Dragon. And Curse Academy really making up for their sort of not necessarily great map play with these brilliant dragon fights.
And after we complimented CLG for playing their comp so well, they rush into a 5v5 team fight, and that is not what you want to do against the Maokai and the Orianna. So much area of effect, although not a great shockwave coming out, but just Maokai mitigating so much damage. Only the support going down on the side of Curse Academy. So this is where we see Afromu tries to get it started. Hook goes onto the wrong person. But from here, it's a 5v5 team fight. Chris has joined the team at this point. Bunny Fufu takes a lot longer to go down, and Link just gets blown up, and now they're all clumped.
Yeah, and Bunny Fufu actually tanking so much of that damage as well.
Yeah, Shockwave comes out, doesn't hit that many people, but from here, they're able to chase down with the speed up that comes through from Keen. Once again, CLG just cannot team fight 5v5 against this without a pick first.
Yeah, and that is going to mean another dragon here for Curse Academy. Now going to pick up the gold lead as well, so 1,100 in favor of Curse Academy now, so this gold is just swinging backwards and forwards. You have to think that with the team comp Curse Academy has, as things go on, it's going to be looking a little bit better for them.
Yeah, Mundo definitely will be hard to stop in a 1v1 if he continues to split push late game. However, with the rest of the composition, if they don't get these picks, be able to set up a lot more ward control over the map, they will start to struggle.
Yeah, and I very much like Impactful picking up the Sork boots as well, making sure he has as much poke potential as possible when they do have these skirmishes. Vicious trying to poke around to avoid his ward getting killed. CLG grouping up yet again. Is this what they want to be doing around this stage of the game?
So they need to group up, push out a lane, and then gain map control of an area. With Mundo, the cleavers, as well as the percentage damage out of Dexter, they do neutral objectives extremely fast. So if they can push up lanes, get ward control, Curse Academy is going to have to base check and open to pick. So they're playing this part well. It's just if they get 5v5 team fights where they're at the disadvantage.
Yep. They do have the teleport advantage at this stage, so Seraph does have the option of split pushing, but look at Curse Academy, they do manage to land another pick, and Seraph, even though he's this tanky Mundo, takes half of his health.
Yeah, and straight away, Curse Academy recognize what CLG are trying to do, and they just push the mid lane. They're looking to force at this point in the game and fight in open spaces where they have the advantage.
Yeah, but as we can see, CLG with a nice push of minions in that bottom wave, going to force Impactful to go and clear those ones up. Afterwards, we'll probably be able to pick up that Infinity Edge as well. So Trinity Force, Infinity Edge is going to be a very, very scary Corki.
And this is where the lack of armor on the side of CLG will start to take effect. With the crits coming out from Infinity Edge Trinity Force, and here's a pick setup. Wow, this could be so dangerous for CA.
Yeah, Bunny Fufu gets caught there. We've got everything being blown, but look at the turnaround for Curse Academy. All of that damage Impactful got here at exactly the right time. The double kill from Chris, and CLG thought it was all going their way, but it's not going to happen. Impactful with another fantastic rocket. I lost my brain in that fight because everything came down at once.
Yeah, as soon as they dove in onto Bunny Fufu, once again, the shockwave came
That's going to mean a Baron.
Cleaned up. This is meaning a Baron on the side of CA. It's only 27 minutes. Double Lift has to try and stop this.
Yeah, doesn't have the culling available as of yet. St. Vicious is very low. Ardent Blaze trying to come through, but Double Lift has to be very, very careful. There is Chris with the Twisted Advance in there, and they're just going to focus this Baron through. That is going to be St. Vicious picking that one up. And Curse Academy with such a decisive play. I'm starting to believe Zion's Spartan right now.
And this is where CLG think they have the pick. However, they all pile in. And this shockwave hits 4 people. That is absolutely huge. All the AoE damage coming through, and at this point, CLG can't fight. They have to try and run. But the chase potential just too much on the side of Curse Academy. Pick up the Baron, pick up the gold lead. Now they're really rolling in this team fight comp.
Yeah, they really, really are. And Chris has been so impressive on this Maokai as well, making sure that he gets Twisted Advances, has that Maelstrom to make sure that he's so tanky, and he's often been considered sort of not necessarily the strongest member of the team, to put it diplomatically. So, been playing this one out very, very well, despite the fact that his lane opponent got quite ahead.
Yeah, so Seraph did do a great job during the laning phase, but when it comes to team fights, we're just seeing the impact that Maokai can have over the Mundo. It's just, he's become absolutely huge. With that Frozen Heart picked up as well now, it's just going to mean that Double Lift, who is the most fed character on his side, is going to do less and less damage as the game goes on.
Now we'll see whether CLG can regroup and try and make something happen here, of course. Their Mundo is still fairly strong, but it's going to be quite difficult.
The petrifying thing on the side of CLG is that they're a 5,000 gold disadvantage, and there's all these turrets open on the map. The mid tier 2 hasn't even been taken yet.
Yes.
However, they don't siege extremely well. Corki, with that short range, is only going to be able to get 1 or 2 shots off at a time. Use that chain proc to try and clear out these turrets. So this might lend to a little bit of a missed turret dive, and that's the next thing that CLG have to hope for, because the 5v5 teamfights in the open just aren't working.
Yeah, and Doublelift has been fantastic at finding these free lanes, as he was often known for. Now 100 CS in the lead, almost has that Bloodthirster finished up. If he gets a last Whisper, he's going to be ridiculously strong. The Curse Academy coming through this mid lane, there's nothing that CLG can do at this stage. They just sneezed on that turret and it fell down.
Once again, now grouping up as the 5, so understanding exactly
there's the
what
flag
their
from
wing
Chris,
condition
not quite
is,
gonna
and
land.
Tank's gone in.
Yeah, does catch a cocoon to the face. So just making sure that they pressure CLG out of this one. The inner turret goes down, trading for an inner in the bottom lane though, but Doublelift probably has to think about heading back in case there's an inhibitor being taken.
Yeah, and Chris is looking to go back as well. Dragon is up, so they can rotate to that straight away. Looks like they're not done in the mid lane. They want the inhibitor.
Yeah, they feel like if Doublelift is going to stay in the bottom lane, they will take that bet. But he has left. Creep Wave is going to die to this inhibitor turret in the bottom lane. So Vicious will be happy with stealing away this red buff. Gives it away to Impactful. Quite nice.
And once again, terrific movements from Curse Academy. They're looking to set up in the bottom half of the jungle and make CLG face check this dragon. Otherwise, they're going to fall even further behind. They've given it up for free. They're looking to gain farm over the rest of the map, but that's just a massive lead now in their advantage.
Yeah, CLG just looks like a team that knows that they're not necessarily going to win this one because they're not contesting for these objectives. They know that there is a Baron, of course, but not even going to try and trade objectives in these situations.
Yeah, and it looks like now Chris, with the teleport, will be split pushing bottom lane. He's looking to pick up another 2 turrets, and with a 4-man siege because of the Orianna, I think that they can withstand this and keep the tier 2 alive.
Yep, CLG trying to answer with the inner turret in the top lane. Death Sentence onto that minion. He's going to be going down. Oh, Seraph gets caught up again, but the turret's died now. That's not necessarily as great. Chris is coming through. Seraph forced to use that flash to get away, but St. Vicious has found him now. Nice charm from Link. Oh my goodness, Link gets obliterated. And Seraph now still running. But I think, oh, actually, no, there's Sadism's going to wear off. Impactful's here now, but this is sort of the wild goose chase that Amundo can do. He is eventually going to go down, but he wasted a fair bit of time.
But took him straight to the minions in the middle lane. They're
Yep.
going to be able to push down here. 2 people on 30-second death timers or higher.
Link's whole health bar was red just then.
Yeah, he got blown up
It's like he
completely.
became a member of Curse Academy for the moment.
And now it looks like it will be the first inhibitor turret, most likely the first inhibitor for the game as well. And Curse Academy look fantastic.
They look really, really good. This inhibitor is not going to last long. Baron has worn off. The Curse Academy just with 5 strong, 2 dead on the side of CLG. And that's all you can say about that. As we can see, this pick comp just hasn't worked out. And now, Curse Academy just have free roam of this map.
Yeah, and 4 turrets, a dragon, and a 1 team fight on the first Baron. I think they'll take that for their first Baron.
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't care that it's run out. They've got a 10,000 CS gold advantage with this turret. They can go back and buy it. Looks like they're fighting though.
Yeah, there's a Shockwave. Link gonna get absolutely destroyed again. Dexter now is a bit of the focus. Seraph now nicely tanking up some damage here, but oh, Dexter forced to immediately use that repel and flash out of the way, but St. Vicious finally gonna take down Seraph, and this is exactly the same story. They're just gonna be able to do the same thing again.
And they're focusing the tankiest member on
Oh, yeah.
CLG, and he's not lasting at all. Once again, Link got blown up without using his DFG or the 2 charges of his ultimates left over.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness, so much damage. Doublelift gets destroyed. Chris now takes a massive ride on that Twisted Advance, and then another one on the Dark Passage. Nice double kill pickup from Doublelift, but they do manage to pick up their second inhibitor, and that's in the bottom lane. That's going to mean that this next dragon coming up in a minute is going to be all Curse Academy.
Yeah, so they only got the inhibitor turret, so they're going to have to pay another
that's true.
visit down there. And the teleport is down on the side of Chris, so regardless, they can just keep Seraph in the bottom lane, push that one out, even if there are super minions. But double lift, 3-0-2, nearly 400 CS
Yep.
at the 33-minute mark.
Let's hope
He
his
has
back is
his
strong, my
whole
friend.
team on his back right now, looking to pick up that last Whisper as his next item.
Yep, and he did have that pickaxe before that last fight, so you can imagine that last Whisper is not too far away, especially after this wave. Has somehow, again, found another free wave, so yeah, definitely funneling a lot of gold into double lift, and oh man, I just think it's very, very dangerous just because Curse Academy are so able to pick out whoever they want at this stage.
Yeah, and the fact that Orianna is able to blow up a single member, they don't even need the shockwave to hit a large group of people for them to win team fights now. It's just getting more and more out of control for the CLG.
Yep, Keen is actually a full Zhonya's Hourglass up on Link, and that's with a Rabbidan's Death Cap instead of that DFG. This Orianna is such a monster. 3-2-11 now as well, so massive kill participation. That's 14 of the 15 kills.
And straight away, Curse Academy looking to force the issue one more time, set up complete control over Baron, and they might be able to pick this up uncontested. They're burning through it so fast.
Yeah, 35 minutes into the game, 10,000 gold lead. Curse Academy with so much control. The culling's coming through. They're trying to make something work on the side of CLG. Doublelift is in a good position, but Impactful immediately takes down Dexter. Chris trying to be a nuisance, but Doublelift still on full health. Is he going to be able to do something out of this? No, that's another member going down. And I think CLG are going to have to back off, but this time Link didn't die. So they can take that away.
No shockwave expended on the side of Keen as well, so they can turn around and go straight back to this Baron. Looks like CLG have given up at that idea. They're just looking to push the mid lane and get something for it, but the recalls are coming out on the side of the Curse Academy.
Yep. Keen, of course, trying to recall, but gets knocked up by Baron. Always unfortunate. That is going to mean that the turret is going to go down in that mid lane, but Baron for inner turret, I mean, it is map control. I'll give you that. But the money's always going to go in favor of Curse Academy, so definitely looking very, very strong.
Yeah, and 2 open inhibitors right now.
Yeah.
That's the important part. They can just walk into the base and completely clear it out, and then just focus on the top lane. They don't even need to fight at this point of the game. So as we see, Curse Academy pull off the Baron. They know they can win a team fight, and once again, Link gets caught out of position, gets hooked, and look how much damage Impact was just doing to Seraph at this point. He goes down in about... no, he actually stays up. They turn their focus onto the jungler Dexter. And it's just Link repetitively getting caught out just means he can't unload on one person, can't blow them up, and it's just looking really, really bad with team fights.
It has a lot to do with the fact that Curse Academy have been really, really disciplined in how well they're staying together as well. They're not trying to dive too far to pick up Doublelift. They're staying as a unit and making sure that they can protect one another in these fights.
Yeah, and that's just their gold advantage. They can kill the front line of CLG before CLG can kill their front line. So Maokai at this point of the game just isn't going to die. And we haven't spoken about St. Vicious that much this game. He is our key matchup. He's 5-1-10 and absolutely massive on this Karzik. So tanky at this point. Looks like he'll pick up his Randuin's next. And they're just going to see just another turret. Maybe better to go into the mid lane, but the teleport is coming through.
Yeah, Chris definitely want to press this advantage. Little softball just to say, yep, I'm here. Here you go.
And it looks like they will rotate through into the mid lane, looking to pick up the inhibitors instead of the turrets. Clear those 2 out. What that means is that CLG can't leave their base. They have to protect the inner turrets from super minions. And at this point, they honestly can't fight either.
CLG playing back very, very far. The Maelstrom going to come through just to deter any potential attack, but that's not going to come through. Curse Academy just so far ahead at this stage.
And you see them, they're playing so careful. They're
so
walking around the base, always as 5. Kane took no damage from that Orb of Deception, and they're going to waltz in and take a second inhibitor for themselves.
That was with a charm on as well. Chris actually getting caught up by all of the CC available from CLG. But he is not going to care. He's still over half health at this stage on a champion with incredible sustain like Maokai. Just Curse Academy, so strong.
Yeah, however, the danger is they're playing maybe a little bit too safely. If they let this game go for another 10 minutes, items aren't going to mean anything at 50 minutes into a match because everyone's going to be on 6 items, and then it just comes down to whoever plays the comp further. Killing the 2 inhibitors is good, but what it does do is funnel farm into the carries of CLG and ensure that they can start getting some items for themselves.
See whether they do make it work, but as we've seen, Curse Academy have just had all of the 5-man team fights work in their favor. So you'd think that if they just stay grouped up, they are going to be able to take this series.
Yeah, and it looks like they are just walking into the top lane, looking to push out the last lane that doesn't have an inhibitor up. And Chris is going to be able to clear this one out with his ultimate.
Yep, no worries there at all. More of Malmortius actually being picked up here by St. Vicious, not wanting just that Hex Drinker, and I love that item on Kha'Zix because you spend a lot of your time at low health.
Yeah, especially diving into the backline like he is.
Yeah.
Trying to distract Link and Double Lift, using that stealth to great effect. And CLG's done a good job of pushing these lanes up. They will be able to defend for maybe a wave, but after that, they're going to have to retreat off this tier 2.
Yeah, and this is such a hard turret to defend as well. When you're 13,000 gold behind, anything's going to be hard to defend, but this one in particular is quite hard to defend.
And once again, the carry's walking up to the front line. Double Lift equal with Seraph there. He needs to be careful that he doesn't get picked out by a hook and blown up.
Yeah, does have that Relentless Pursuit to keep himself a little bit safer, or a little bit more nimble anyway. But Chris just gets a little bit impatient. He's just going to tank this one up. Command Protect, managing to take 4 turret shots.
Yeah, as soon as they see Double Lift in the mid lanes, Chris just walks straight up to that turret, tanks it out, able to pick up another turret, and this is real danger time for CLG.
Yeah, and you can see that bottom wave of Super Creeps is heading straight for those Nexus turrets. Seraph gets caught out there as well. And there's a 3-man shockwave there underneath the turret. Double Lift gets caught, and now Twisted advanced on. He's going to get destroyed. Shutdown coming through on top of St. Vicious. Cannot believe that's his first death, actually. And now Chris, so deep, doesn't even die. Somehow gets all of his health back, and impactful picks up Aphromoo. Only 2 members of CLG alive. And that is going to be the Nexus turrets and the Nexus following. Curse Academy taking game 1 in commanding fashion.
What a strong performance and understanding of their composition. Never splitting up so the pick comp could come through. Brilliant 5v5s. Fantastically played by Curse Academy.
And I feel like we could have a back-to-back upset here. Of course, H2K, who were arguably the favorites in our last matchup, fell down to Copenhagen Wolves. So is Curse Academy going to be able to do it here? By that performance, I can imagine they could.
Yeah, it just looked like they came out of the Champion Select with a better team fighting comp. And with the way they played the game, I think that is how this series will go. With the team fight, sticking together as a 5-man group and really listening to Saint's calls. They were just like one solid unit.
Especially towards that late game, you saw actually a Valkyrie and a leap over a wall happened at exactly the same time. That's almost like inhuman alien type stuff.
And they played it so safe, walking around the edges of the base,
Yeah.
pushing the top lane, even though the 2 inhibitors were down. They played it textbook, and in the end, they just rolled over the top of CLG.
Yeah, they certainly did. It was such a dominating performance. And if they can manage to get the same picks again next game, then yes, they could do it again. But do you think that maybe Champion Select is really going to dictate whether CLG can get back into this series?
I definitely do. I don't think that Keen sees Orianna for the rest of the series. They
Oh,
either need to pick it away or ban it, because that is his most comfortable champion. And of course, not knowing that much about him, he hasn't played in the scene for that long of a time. He loves Orianna. He controls the whole of the team fight with that champion.
Yeah, he certainly does. He's so, so strong. And we know a lot about that. But you can imagine CLG maybe haven't seen Keen as much. So you can imagine they don't necessarily know how strong he is on that champion. But now, let's send it over to Dash and our guest analyst. Oh, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to say that word right.
Guest analyst for an inside look into Curse Academy's Game 1 win.
Thank you, Atlas and Spawn, for helping him out there. I'm James Dash Patterson, and I'm joined here once again by our special guest, special guest, of course, they're going to throw that one at me, and Skara for some expert insight into this series. So let's get right to that expert insight. Let's look immediately at the pick and ban phase. We saw a Lucian first pick come out. That is a high priority on a champion to give to Doublelift there. What do you think they were thinking in pulling that out?
I think CLG falls into this really bad mindset. And the mindset is that we have one of the best ADs like in North America. And because of that, we should high priority our AD carry pick. Because, and the reason why that's wrong is that it should be that if your player is that good, he should feel comfortable playing any role. Like whether or not he gets whatever AD carry he gets shouldn't matter in the lane. And so because of that, they gave away a Maokai for a Lucian pick. I feel like their draft was really messy, and they they also picked Ari, which is something that they, like I said before, you need really, really strong vision control to pull her off. They actually got exceptionally good vision control around the mid game, like at 5 pinks down, all of Dragon Fully Ward, stuff like that. And then they just executed 1 fight wrong, 2 fights wrong, and then they just lost the game because their team comp just had no way to come back into the game after that. Even though Doublelift did well, their general team comp in the way that they executed their strategy was poor.
Specials, as a fellow bot laner, I do want to get your insight in on that as well. Scar mentioned he had a ton of farm. He was in the position in terms of items to carry, but it didn't happen. So at what point do you say, we've got to stop putting so much stock into this singular entity of our team and maybe look elsewhere?
Doublelift actually played really well in laning with AfroMe that game. They were up a significant amount of CS in a matchup where it should be even/slightly favored towards Curse Academy. So it's good that they pressured bottom, and it's good they got ahead from that. But the biggest issue in that game wasn't really just the lanes, it was the fights. They were trying to fight early when Mundo isn't as strong as Maokai. Maokai's a really strong teamfight champion, especially early on with his ultimate. And they just lost way too many fights, and they lost them way too hard. I do think that Link played fairly poorly in these fights, and that's huge for an Ahri because Orianna is someone who can turn around fights really easily. She has a lot of potential. You have a lot of spells. It's kind of hard to miss. They're pretty large AoE, but Ahri is very precise. You need to be able to line your skill shots and not get hooked, and be able to do a lot of damage. And Ori was doing way more than Ahri was in these fights, and it showed. They just won fights way too convincingly.
This is now the 4th Ahri game in a row that we've seen be unsuccessful today. So that has to beg the question: is it time to bench that champion, move on to something else that is more team fight oriented? Because that's where we're seeing that pick, kind of falter.
I just think, yeah, like they actually had a good team comp to get Ahri ahead. That they just faltered in being able to execute it correctly. Like they even got solid picks, controlled the entire dragon area, controlled both blue buffs, both the 2nd and the 3rd spawns. Like they had a really good idea of how to win the game. They just executed 2 consecutive team fights very poorly, and because of that, they weren't able to get ahead.
Yeah, so this is completely different from the H2K games because H2K couldn't get the vision out. They were completely blind. They were walking into the enemy team, or they were just letting them walk in. But here, CLG had complete vision, but they were still letting Curse Academy walk in. They need to be able to, if they want to play Ahri, they need to be able to wait, be patient, and wait for them to walk in, pick people off, kill them one at a time, not overcommit, but at the same time, you want to be able to pressure them and have them be scared as they walk in. And that's like just essential to Ahri and essential to any sort of pick comp. And with Elise and Ahri, you need to do that.
That's very true. We can't take away from CLG the fact that they did have stellar vision control. Pretty early on in the game, they had 5 pink wards up to Curse Academy's singular pink ward. They were going much deeper with their vision. You said controlling their blue buff. They got a couple successful picks. So then we move into the team fight phase, where things started to fall apart. Is that more on a mechanical level, that these players just were not executing properly their role within the team fight? Or is it a mismatch in communication and not calling the fights properly?
I think it's probably communication. It's like a little bit of everything, because nothing's just like singular, but it seemed like conceptually, like mechanically, they weren't on the same page. And that's probably a breakdown in communication as well. And because of that, they ended up losing the 2 big mid-game fights that Ahri needs to snowball her lead.
I would like to look at Curse Academy now, because they obviously did do a lot of things right in order to get back into that game. They played the team fights correctly. So, Xpecial, how much of that is a product of having those veterans like Saint Vicious and Bunny Fufu in the roles of shot caller, who can kind of keep the team composed and looking forward to the later parts of the game?
I don't know how CLG does their shot calling, but it was not clean that game. They were way too sloppy. They were focusing different targets. And Curse Academy, they were always cutting back. When, for example, Bunny on Thresh got picked off near their Wraith area, Keen had a perfect 4-man ultimate that just completely melted their team. It's just, sure, sometimes they're walking in and getting picked off, but their team is reacting immediately. And that sort of communication, that sort of response is what's needed at that level. You don't really have enough time to just tell everybody exactly what to do. It needs to be instinctive. And we're not seeing the LCOG. They're just getting picked off. They're getting into these bad fights. They're not letting skill shots. All these things are going wrong, and it can't be like that if they want to win this game.
We'll take a look at that Wraith Camp pick in a second. First, I want to pull up a different replay, though. 23 minutes into the game, near the Dragon Pit. It was kind of one of the one of the larger turning points there for Curse Academy. So, Scar, I'll let you take this one away.
Okay, so two big things happened in this fight that lost them this, and this was probably what I think is the game-deciding fight outside of the Wraith Camp Free Baron. Afro ulti's really too early. Like, no one can follow that up. There's absolutely no way. They go in. It sucks, whatever. The TP comes in, Link gets a perfect charm, and Chunk, there's no reason to ulti back around to try to get damage onto the Thresh. He should have ultied away after that Chunk. They had to disengage after Thresh got Chunk because he's one of their initiators and follow-ups, and they could have just looked to start the Dragon and look for another thing once his rotation came back up. And then after that, Curse Academy just had to clean up the fight. I'm surprised Keen didn't die there because he was like in the middle of 3 people, but he didn't even hit. He hit one person with his ulti, but it didn't matter because CLG had already botched their initiation so hard.
Especially you talked about their reactionary play. That's one example. Let's jump right into the second example, which you brought up. We're going to go 27 minutes into the game in Curse Academy's red side jungle. Take it away.
CLG had really good vision in this game. As you can see here, Curse Academy, they're walking in blind. And against an Aryan at least, that should mean death. But you're going to see in a little bit, that's not exactly what happens. They group up way too hard here. You see all 4 of them kind of walk in. Keen's like, all right, I'm just going to ult here. I mean, it's really easy. 4 of them get popped to at least half, and it's easy cleanup. It's just Kha'Zix, Corki, they're all really pretty much full HP, and they just melt them. I mean, obviously Saint's low, but it didn't matter. He did all his damage, and it's a cleanup into Baron. And in this, for the Ahri team comp, it's pretty much game over.
Yeah, it seemed like, especially in that fight, they tunneled a little bit too hard on getting that Thresh kill that they walked right into that Ori ball. And sometimes it's hard to keep track of that, the positioning of the ball in those large team fights. One final note, I want to go into the next game. We're looking at CLG because they did have that map control. They did make some smart decisions early. They were winning individual lanes, particularly the bot lane. So what are the adjustments they need to make to execute properly on those leads that they get? Xpecial?
I think Bunny's Thresh was a pretty huge factor in that game. Sure, he wasn't winning his lane, and he was getting picked off once a little bit, but he was making these plays in teamfights that were really punishing, especially for Link's Ahri. I think Link should probably fall back onto probably an Orianna or a Syndra, where he can still do damage, even if he doesn't play absolutely perfectly. And I want to see Thresh be taken away, just because I know he's going to have a huge impact on that champion.
Scar, thoughts?
I definitely agree with that. I think the draft phase needs to improve dramatically. Just to reiterate what I said before, I think they need to drop AD carry priority in draft. I think that's actually messing up their draft completely. If they drop AD carry priority, like for instance, this next set, they're on purple side, they don't want to an AD carry in the 1-2 for purple, then they will have a much better chance of winning, or getting like a more balanced team comp. Or a stronger team comp just coming out of draft. And I think that's something that they really need to improve if they're looking to win this series.
All right, we'll see if CLG can make those changes, as Curse Academy looked rather strong there at the end of Game 1. We do have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back for Game 2 between CLG and Curse Academy.
Damage. Saint wants to make something happen, but he's going to go down. Dexter picks up that kill. Link, so low. Impactful picks up that kill. And Seraph now exhausted. Twisted advance. He's locked down for days. Link from the backside. Bunny Fufu gets taken down so low, but Link's now focused. He's going to fall. That's support for mid lane and not necessarily what CLG wants. Yeah, Bunny Fufu gets caught there with everything being blown. But look at the turnaround for Curse Academy. All of that damage Impactful got here at exactly the right time. Seraph forced to use that flash to get away, but St. Vicious has found him now. Nice charm from Link. Oh my goodness, Link gets obliterated, and there's a 3-man shockwave there underneath the turret. Double If gets caught, and now Twisted advanced on. He's gonna get destroyed.